I remember when footage of Immortals of Aveum first came out, there was a lot of chatter about the novelty of the concept, a boomer shooter that used magic. I, of course, am an old bitter bastard, so I knew this wasn't novel at all. Not even getting into all the indie shooters over the past 20 years that have used magic as your primary method of attack. My first memory of such a thing dates back to 1991, my sophomore year, when SoftDisk licensed id, the eventual creator of Wolfenstein 3D, to create a 3D sequel to their crappy game Catacomb called, Catacomb 3D. And guess what? It sucked. And then Doom came. And of course that led to even more magic shooters. Games like Heretic and games like Hexen, for example. Ultimately, Immortals of Aveum came and went like an outdoor fart in the tornado season. But when the question of why arose, the gaming media seemed to want to protect it, and the reputation of its developers, Ascendant Studios, claiming it was all simply due to the competition it had during its launch. And Ascendant Studios themselves got behind this narrative. To this day, booting up the game for the first time takes you to a disclaimer from Ascendant Studios, expressing that they're an independent studio. Please like our game. We worked oh so hard on it. Please don't shit on our hard work. Right. An indie studio that had EA's backing and included staff who developed Dead Space, Call of Duty, and some of the writers and world builders of Skyrim and other massive fantasy worlds. Such a small indie studio indeed. So small, the game cost $80 million to develop, and EA spent $40 million advertising it. A studio so small, they laid off over 40 people when this game flopped, which represented 40% of their staff at the time. No, friends, this game didn't die on the vine due to some overcrowded market. After all, look what just happened with Expedition 33. No, this game flopped because it felt just like Catacomb 3D, a shell built on top of the success of another title. Anyone who watches footage of Immortals of Aveum for any modicum of time should be able to readily tell you what it is. It's Doom Eternal with the guns replaced with magic, overlaid with Skyrimish world building and an extremely dated Joss Whedon, well that just happened, sense of humor. Alright, let's get this over with. You play as Jack, a not-so-humble thief who lives in the ghetto.
Mama cries, 'cause if there's one thing that she don't need, it's another little hungry mouth to feed in the ghetto.
Under a large bridge. Before you know it, his town is attacked by the resident bad guy Sandrak and his army, and all of Jack's friends are killed. Jack understandably loses his shit, and suddenly lovely Jubilee fireworks explode from his hands and kill a bunch of the bad guys. When he comes to his senses, he's recruited by Kirkin, the leader of the Immortals of Aveum, an elite group of magic-wielding soldiers. She explains to him that magic flows in ley lines across the world, powering the three main types of magic. And Jack, of course, is the chosen one of an extremely rare breed, someone capable of wielding all three types of magic at once. Force, or blue magic, chaos, or red magic, and life, or green magic. She then explains that the endless war is being fought over the control of those ley lines, and that Sandrak and the evil Rasharn kingdom have been throwing the armies of other magic-wielding kingdoms into the wound. A great big gash in the middle of the country with a big-ass statue sticking out of it. The gash is so big, it's almost the size of Alanis Morissette's monstrous box.
Jeez, you got a big pussy. Jeez, you got a big pussy. She said, why did you say that twice? I said I didn't.
You know, it's one of those stories where the hero starts to question what he's been told, where there's not a pure good and evil, just shades upon shades of gray, and we're not so different, you and I, and suddenly everyone is cracking MCU jokes, and are we sure people who worked on Skyrim made this? Are we really sure? Is that really true?
He was lying!
No, Immortals of Aveum is exactly what it looks like. You take Doom Eternal, plaster a bunch of vaguely Norse Skyrim-y scenery around, replace all the myriad of guns with blue magic, sniper rifle, red magic, shotgun, green magic, SMG, and add a few area of attack spells and one ultimate death ray super attack and call it a day. Next, and this is a disturbing trend from this generation that I really wish would just go behind the barn and die, they built the game out in separate levels, but they threw it all into a big, massive central hub map to make the game look like it's an open-world sandbox, even though all you really have is the current-gen equivalent of Sonic Jam's Sonic World on the Sega fucking Saturn. The graphics, for what they are sharp, detailed, and run at a smooth frame rate on PS5 Pro. But everything you see is going to remind you of something else you've already seen somewhere else. There's no originality to drown your peepers in on this one. It's all completely derivative. Now, the facial animation is done okay, and all of the actors are giving it their very best, but just like with other games discussed in the past several days, the greatest acting chops in the world are not going to help this cringy Joss Whedon humor sprinkled throughout. Not everything needs to feel like Avengers 2, you know. We get it. We've already spent over a decade balls deeping that punchline worse than a pineapple up Hitler's ass in hell.
You're serious.
I wish I had more positive to say about the music, but really it's just your typical fantasy stuff. Some of it works well to get your adrenaline pumping during the more heated battles, but other than that, you won't remember any of it after turning the game off, unlike the likes of Skyrim, Kingdom Hearts, Uncharted, or even Halo. Gameplay-wise, like I said before, it's dumbed-down Doom Eternal with magic instead of guns, and simple puzzles scattered about here and there. You can grapple hook enemies to draw them closer to you, or you can grapple yourself all over the map using specific grapple points. The combat is smooth and super fast, typical boomer shooter fare, but it's not overly challenging. You have a skill tree where you can power up your magic, modify your equipment, and so on. I didn't really pay a tremendous amount of attention to that, as with the exception of some boss fights, I found the initial 3 magics you have at the start of the game to be sufficient for most of the gameplay.
That'll do.
It's not horrible or broken, it's just completely unremarkable. In fact, for the vast majority of my playtime, I was, for the most part, generally unoffended. I was prepared to keep this game in B.T.S territory and give it a solid 5 out of 7 as a decent but flawed first effort. But then, it happened.
Niagara Falls! Slowly I turned.
I was walking about the hub world, looking to see what kind of trouble I could and couldn't get into yet, when I happened across what looked like a Stargate. A helpful pop-up explained that the map was littered with these gates, and that they would take you to special challenge missions that rewarded you with various upgrades if you succeeded. And so I stepped into it. As soon as the challenge map appeared, the game suddenly froze and I received a pop-up saying, "Error saving to file." I clicked OK, and the game played for a couple of minutes and then it popped up again, "Error saving to file." So I exited the challenge mission back to the hub world, but it was still doing it. "Error saving to file." And I slowly began to realize that the error was popping up every time the game tried to autosave. The goddamn Stargate had corrupted my save file.
No. Wait.
Hoping beyond all hope, I manually saved and then shut down the game and rebooted my PS5 Pro. I booted the game back up. it loaded my save file without issue. I thought, oh, thank God. But then in 2 minutes, it tried to autosave, and there came up the pop-up again. Error. Saving. To file. You can't see the pop-up as I recorded this footage with the PS5's internal capture system, and so it doesn't save the operating system errors in the file, so all you see here are brief freezes. But trust me, dear viewer, every time you see it freeze here, I'm getting that pop-up. This game has been out 2 damn years, and this kind of thing is still going on. I believed in you, Ascendant Studios. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. And then you throw me a save file corruption glitch that hasn't been patched in 2 fucking years?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Well, no, damn it. Somebody has to say something. Okay, sure, you lost half your staff. I feel for them, I really do. But what's the other half doing? Where are they? Do they not care? Sure, I didn't pay $70 for this when it was new, but I still paid my hard-earned money for it, even though it's currently on PS Plus for free. I wanted to support the devs, or what was left of them, by buying physical, as I always do if the option is available to me. But this is the thanks I get. Realizing I would have to start all over, I just deleted the damn game instead and put it back on the shelf, where it shall remain until either the good Lord takes me or Disc Rot takes it. Immortals of Aveum gets a negative 70 billion out of 7. Jesus Christ!
Why do you disappoint me? Second by second, you waste my time.